Hey guys, it's Shrad at UPR back with some more technical information for Fox Body and SN95 Mustangs. We've been selling these strange 10-way shocks and struts for a long time, and the reason why is because they're a really great value for those cars. So these 10-way adjustable struts and shocks are priced about what a regular stock replacement type, let's say like an auto parts house shock or strut would be, but you get 10 adjustments with this with the knob on the bottoms of them. And the knob adjusts primarily the rebound or extension stroke of the strut and shock, but it also does slightly adjust the compression on the strut and the shock. So keep that in mind on your adjustments. One question we get a lot is, which ones should I buy for my Mustang? And customers that we've had for a long time have noticed that we almost always specifically recommend the 87 to 93 shocks and struts. And here's why. Most people are using spindles like Fox Body V8 spindles, 87 and up. They are a little bit thinner through here than the 86 and older V8 or any year 4-cylinder spindles, which have a thicker ear there. People don't usually use those spindles. So we're going to recommend the 87 to 93 specifically for the factory V8 or aftermarket spindles that are out there. These will bolt straight on. But if you have a 94 to 04 Mustang, you might be asking, why are you going to recommend a Fox Body shock and strut when my car's newer than that? And the reason why is because of the dimensional differences between these struts and shocks. Here we have the struts. This is an SN95 strut and this is a Fox Body strut. You can see that just the body of the strut, it's longer on the SN95. The shaft actually is a little bit higher out of the body on the SN95 strut than it is on the Fox Body. So in practice, the difference in length compressed is 1.5 inches with the same travel on the struts, which is about 6.3 inches of travel. So the problem that people run into, if you can kind of picture the different body styles in your mind, the wheel well cuts on the SN95 are really high, front and back. So when people cosmetically want to lower the cars, it takes like a 2-inch drop on an SN95 or New Edge car to make it look decent. But these struts are so much longer that you're just about bottomed out when you lower it that much because of how long it is. But if you put a Fox Body strut on an SN95 or New Edge, you gain that difference, that 1.5 inch difference in compressed height, you gain that in travel. So where this might have bottomed out, this one will not. Similar situation on the shocks. On the shocks here, you see that this is the SN95 or 94 to 04 shock, and this is the Fox Body. Now this is 1.75 inches difference in height, so that's substantial. I mean, this bottoms out pretty easily on a lowered 94 to 04 Mustang, whereas this one gaining 1.75 inches, it just gives you that much more bump travel before it would ever bottom out. So this is definitely the way to go. Notice that there's a little bump stop on the 94 to 04 shock that takes away some of the travel. So where the struts had the same travel, the shocks, there's actually 1.5 inches more travel from extended to compressed on the Fox Body shock than there is on the 94 to 04. So these are all differences to keep in mind. Almost without exception, we're going to recommend those 87 to 93 V8 shocks and struts for any 79 to 04 Mustang. Just keep in mind the spindle differences that I mentioned, and also the fact that the ride height kind of affects your choice. One thing that I want to point out, just because the cool kids are talking about it lately, and I have to address it, is lately, maybe because of TV racers or internet racers, now everybody wants to have these long travel struts. So this is like, old cartoon cars where the car launches and it's like, wow, the front bumper's this high off the ground and the front tires are still touching the ground, right? That's like the cool thing to do. Being honest, I'm not a fan. I feel that there are other ways to make the car work without doing that. And I feel that Even with our shop car that we've won a couple of NMRA championships, I feel like we've proven that we can make a car work without extreme travel. But no prep guys are really into that long travel stuff. So one thing to point out is I have seen them use physically longer struts like this, okay? I have seen a company that makes like an extension where it threads onto this and the stud sticks up farther. And what you're doing is you're just physically getting more distance away from the car. Now keep in mind, this strut doesn't travel, actually the stroke of the strut is not longer than this one. What you're doing is you're physically moving the package farther away from the strut tower, which that's a tool that you can use. It's a chassis tuning tool that you can use to try to make the car work. But in practical terms, what this means is if the car sits even remotely normally on the starting line, and you're trying to take advantage of all that additional extension, the strut's basically bottomed out. I mean, you're sitting at the starting line bottomed out. If you were driving down the road, like let's say the return road on a no prep deal, and you hit a little ripple in the road, I mean, it's bottomed out. You know, there's no travel. But from level to all the way up here, it just keeps extending. If you're into that, go for it. Get the longer strut. Get the bolt-on shaft extender if that's your thing. We're just really, we make it work with the normal stuff like normal men do. I'm sorry, I'll have to cut that out. But anyway, no, we make it work with the Fox length shocks and struts, and it's been working for many years, and that's what we stick with. So you can pick up these Strange Engineering 10-way adjustable struts and shocks for a very attractive price at uprproducts.com, or call us at 561-588-6630 to order. Keep in mind that we also sell Viking Performance struts and shocks, which work very well, and we can help you with those as well. So these are the differences between Fox body and 94 to 04 struts and shocks.